My name is Tony Hawk, and my first sponsor was Dogtown Skateboards. And the process of getting sponsored was a little strange. The Dogtown team was in town, and the Dogtown team basically consisted of Mike Smith. And Mike Smith was in town at Oasis. The Dogtown team manager, Denise Downs-Barter, was there with him, and they didn't have a place to stay, and my dad invited them to stay at our house because they were in San Diego and he wanted to practice more. So Mike Smith and Denise's dog came and stayed at our house, and they saw me skating, and they were, I wouldn't say they were like extremely impressed, but they thought I had potential. And so Mike gave me his old board. And by the time they left, I think I learned maybe a couple tricks before they actually left town. And they said, well, you know, if you want to have Mike's board, and then we'll start sending you boards. That was pretty much it. Like, I was sponsored by Dogtown. I was one of, I think, 3 team members at the time. And my first sponsored skateboard was Mike Smith's hand-me-down. And so by default, I was sponsored by Independent because it had indies on it. I was really young, so I didn't know Dogtown was kind of going out of business slowly. And they had their skateboards made at a furniture manufacturer in San Diego called Taylor & Dykema. And so they would tell me, if you want skateboards, just go to Taylor & Dykema and grab them off the press. So I would get these boards that were Dogtown triplane boards that weren't screened at all. And then I would actually like draw Dogtown logos or just put stickers all over them to make sure that people knew that that's the board. And then eventually, they quietly went out of business, didn't tell me. And one day I got a call from Stacy Peralta. Actually, one night I got a call, and Stacy said, hey man, yeah, I heard Dogtown went out of business. And I said, oh, that's why I haven't gotten any skateboards in the last couple months. I said, yeah, I want to know if you want to come up to Marina and talk about riding for Pal Peralta. And that was it. I rode for Dogtown for about a year in 1980, and the last skateboard I got was December of 1980. I know that because my dad hung it on the wall, and he like screened December 1980 on it. For that brief year, the Dogtown team was insane. It was me, Mike Smith, Christian Osoy, and Gator. And that was a pretty heavy crew back then. My first video part, well, officially was a cameo in the very first PAL video, which has now been called Skateboarding in the 80s. And basically, it's some footage of Cab and Mike McGill skating Lakewood. There's a few tricks of me skating at Del Mar. And there's a whole segment of Rodney skating in a hockey rink. And I don't think that was a video part, but you know, it was the first video I was in. My first video part came a couple years later when Stacy did the first official Bones Brigade video, which was the Bones Brigade video show. He shot me at Del Mar for a day and made a part out of it. I mean, that's what it took back then, though. No one was shooting for more than a couple days. You know, you basically did the tricks you could do at the time, and that was documented, and that was your video. I think if I had to qualify it, I had a shared part with Steve Stedham because Stedham was there the same day and he has some footage in the same little section. When Stacy shot that, I knew how much pressure I was under to perform. You know, I only had a day with him, and so I did a couple tricks that, you know, I could rarely make, but I made sure I made them for him. Pretty sure I did a finger flip air, and that was pretty rare for me. I mean, you know, I would do it on special occasions, but it usually took a few tries. And it wasn't like Stacy was going to wait an hour for you to make a trick. So I had to make it real fast. It wasn't that people were impatient. It was just that you're not going to film someone for more than a couple hours at all. You know, so if you're going to waste your time trying one trick, you're cut. It's over. It was like, I don't know, people can't really imagine what it was like back then. But it was really just to document what you were capable of doing, in the sense that, like, you're a competitor. What could you do in a contest? What can you make consistently? That's what you were judged on. It wasn't about the crazy tricks that you can make once in a while. I mean, those were cool if you got them on video, but no one was putting in the time or the effort for those videos like that. They weren't shot on film, but they were shot on tape, and you know, big Betamax tape. Like, that stuff wasn't cheap either, and most definitely, no one was wasting their time with it. I mean, I think Stacy was renting those by the hour. The video premiere for the Bones Brigade video show was in my parents' living room during the next Del Mar contest, and about 40 dudes all crammed around in my living room watching the video. And then I remember hearing a bottle of champagne open when it was over, and Stacy and George were toasting to their first video ever. It was pretty cool. Yeah, I was stoked. It wasn't that I was stoked to see myself in it. I was just stoked the way it was put together. I was stoked the way that Stacy edited it and, you know, made something in continuous line. And I mean, that stuff was so uncharted for doing skate videos. The idea that you've got to put a bunch of footage together and make it make sense. You know, it was not trick, trick, trick. It was like, this is all supposed to work into one routine. And I thought he did a good job of it. And there was some slow-mo, and I don't know, it was just super cool.